Andrew, Al Sharpton, you and I have talked, and you've been up to National Action Network, brought your wife. You're the change candidate, as you said this morning. But the knock against you is that you have never been in government and that you didn't even vote in the last few New York elections. How can you change something that you don't know? How can you change government if you don't know how government works? How can you change politics if you've not been involved in New York politics? You even got where one of the trains don't run the same way. So how do you convince people in New York that you're the change agent if you're going to come into something that you are not familiar with and therefore wouldn't know how to change it?
Rev, everywhere I go, New Yorkers talk to me about the same issues: public safety, jobs, homelessness, housing, trash, schools. These are the issues that we all share, and you all live in New York. You know that it's not working, and that if you've been entrenched in our bureaucracies for the last number of years, you know what you've learned a lot of? What can't happen. How many times have we heard here in New York, this can't happen, that can't happen? We're all tired of it. We're all tired of the excuses. We're all tired of people hiding behind the fact that our agencies have not been able to deliver. And so bringing in someone like me who doesn't owe any special interests, anything, I have more individual grassroots donors here in New York City than
I understand that. I want to know, though, how we change it. If I want a guy to fix my car, I want a guy that knows how the car runs. He can't just stand outside the car and say that it's not working, you need change. You got to have a guy that knows the difference between the tires and the steering wheel.
So that's a great metaphor. So what you want is you want someone who knows where the car needs to go and then gets in there and then builds a team of people who have a combination of different experience, including some very, very experienced government hands. Because clearly, if you wanted to build a team around me, you would start with people who know what the levers are, who know how to push bureaucracies in a particular direction. But the car is never going to get where it needs to go if someone's in that driver's seat saying, we're just going to keep on going the same way we've gone, or don't even have a sense of the real problems on the ground, which is what so many New Yorkers feel right now. And you know this, Rev, is that they don't feel like our government's actually delivering right now. And they're right.
So, Andrew, a couple of minutes ago, you said that we need in New York City 21st century police department, 21st century police department. Give me the first couple of questions you would ask a potential new police commissioner.
I would ask them how they would propose to get the gun violence and shootings down as quickly as possible. And then I would ask them how they would plan to deal with the street homelessness epidemic and the police's relationship with getting the mentally ill people who are on our streets and in some cases are unfortunately attacking New Yorkers, how we're going to get those problems under control. Because when I talk to New Yorkers on the street, those are the two problems that concern them most where public safety is concerned. And the homelessness overlaps with the subway safety, which is very, very much tied into the recovery of the city. So if the police commissioner and I are aligned on a vision for how we can address the biggest problems here in New York City, then that's a starting point. But we need someone who can both help advance and evolve the NYPD and also build trust with different constituencies. It's going to be a tall order, but I can't wait to start our national recruitment. I've actually been talking to people who are candidates for it, and some of them are excellent, tremendous.
So I want to learn more about you as a leader. I think the Rev asked a great question. If you've not fixed cars before, how do you know how to fix cars? And I remember asking Donald Trump early on. So you've never done this government thing before. Who do you talk to when you need an answer?
Remember that?
And he said, "You're not going to like this, Joe, but I talk to myself." And I go, "Yeah, you're right. I don't like that." Contrast that with Harry Truman, who went in, and many people thought he was the most ill-equipped person to be president of the United States in the 20th century. He surrounded himself with the best minds, the brightest minds, the greatest diplomats and leaders that America probably had in the 20th century. And he was not afraid to listen to experts. So how do you guarantee New York voters that you're going to be more like Harry Truman and bringing in the very best people around you and deferring to those people who know New York, like top to bottom, versus Donald Trump, who never wanted to listen to anybody unless they were telling him how great he was?
I love this question. And if there's a template for New Yorkers, in my mind, it's Mike Bloomberg. He became mayor, and then he surrounded himself with world-class experts in education, health, transportation, and on and on. And that's exactly what I plan to do. And I've demonstrated that that's my approach in my career, where I ran a private company that became #1 in the country. And you can't do that if it's me all the time. It was all about trying to find the right people, putting them in position to do their best work, build a positive culture, take accountability when things go wrong because the buck stops with you, but then bring in folks who just want to perform and deliver for, in this case, the people of New York City. I don't like talking to myself. I'm certainly not the type who's going to look around and be like, oh, what do I think about this? I love being around smart people who are dedicated to actually getting results, are free of ideology, free of politics. And that's actually also consistent with the way small businesses are run, is because if you get into the guts of a small business, they only care about what works. That's what New Yorkers have been waiting for years, is just to get our city working again. This is the kind of leadership that so many people want. It's why we're going to win this race on June 22nd.
Andrew Yang, thank you very much for being our guest this morning. And tomorrow, the man whose job these candidates are fighting for, Mayor Bill de Blasio, will join us here on set. Up next, how a law student nearly missed out on graduation after making fun of a conservative organization. Keep it right here.